Hello and happy Wednesday. My name is Deepa Robbins from Designs by D, and today I have another Make the Cards Challenge post for you. So, for today's post, I'm going to be showing you how to use layering stencils. And I'm going to be focusing on a lot of Pinkfresh Studio products, and I'll be giving you a sneak peek of some of the products that will be released in December. And I can only do this because I was part of the Create and Connect event that happened this past weekend, and I am really excited to show you these products. So today's challenge is a sketch challenge. So this is a sketch post here. I encourage you to head on over to www.maketheCardsChallenge.com and check out all of the inspiration. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be using an older layering stencil set by Pinkfresh Studio called Heartfelt Thanks. This has 5 stencils. There are 3 stencils for the flower and then 2 for the leaves. So for the first stencil for the flower, I decided to use some Altenew blush ink. Now this is actually a pretty light colored ink, and it is probably like the lightest color in its family. And I wanted to use more like pinks and like reddy type tones to create more of a reddish type background. And I'm going to be inking up this entire panel, but I will actually choose like a section of it to use on the front of my card. So now that I've lined up the second stencil, I'm using Altenew Rouge ink, and I am putting this on there a little bit heavier than I did the first layer of ink. So the first layer of ink, because it covered a larger area, I made it a bit lighter because I wanted it to have a bit of a softer tone. So now I'm going to add the final detail layer for the flower. And once I've got that good and set up, I'm going to be using some Altenew Canyon Clay ink. And this is from a different group of inks altogether. And I thought it would be more reddy, but it's actually pretty orangey. So I decided to actually put some crimson ink on top of that and make it a bit more red. And this actually did the trick. So you can always do this. I'm always changing my plans depending on what happens. You can always just add another ink on top to change the color of what you got. It's always something that you can work with, and it's never ever set in stone. So don't ever throw anything you're working on away. Just keep plugging at it, add some different colors, maybe use heavier pressure when you're adding color. I don't know. There's so many things that you can try to just try and save your artwork. So I made a mistake here. So this is actually the detail portion of the leaves, and I used the lighter minty mint color to ink blend those in. Now for the centers, which is also on this stencil, I made sure that I didn't really ink blend those areas, and then I just used some Altenew Jet Blank ink just to fill in the 4 little flower centers. So here I've gone backwards and I put the full leaf stencil on, and I used the minty mint again. So I used that to just kind of fill in the entire area, and now I've gone back to the detail stencil and I'm adding the sweet leaf. So if you were doing this, the first leaf layer you would have used minty mint and the second one sweet leaf. And this is how it turns out. So you can see I made that little error, and it really wasn't a big deal, and it was pretty easy to fix. So now I'm going to work on the little details or the rest of my panel. And I decided to cut out this Pinkfresh Studio Stitch Scallop Rectangles frame. And I'm cutting it out of some dark red cardstock. And I'm just going to kind of figure out where I want that on my panel. So now that I've kind of figured out the section that I want to cut out, I will line up my little scalloped rectangle die here. This is from another set. And it gives me that nice little scallop border at the bottom, which is on the sketch post. Now I'm using my Tim Holtz guillotine cutter because I need to cut this panel down just a little bit because I'm making an A2 size card here. So it's just a little bit smaller than 4¼ inches widthwise. Now I'm lining it up on my panel where I think it's going to go. And I'm kind of just using my frame to kind of determine exactly where it's going to go, and I'm marking off the end there so I can just cut off this overhanging piece. So that's actually the card base that I lined it up with. And there we go. Now, one of the biggest tips that I picked up from this weekend from the Create and Connect event by Pinkfresh Studio was layering your die cuts. It's really nice when you do these little events because it kind of gets you in the mode of using these really nice tips to create your own cards. So, one of the things that they did a lot was to cut out their borders and their frames a few times from cardstock. And this helps you just build up your die cut so that it's a little thicker, and it actually is a money saver. And I mean, once it was explained to me, it made so much more sense. Foam tape is pretty costly. So, cardstock is not so costly. So all you really have to do is, I know it takes a bit of extra work, but it saves you a lot of money in the long run. Now, I used black cardstock here because I'm using a darker colored cardstock on the top, and you can see it just creates like a thin type chipboard, which is actually like a thick cardstock, right? And then to embellish the front, or to finish off the front design, I'm using Pinkfresh Studios sentiment plates and dies. This is a hot foil plate. It cuts out a whole bunch of sentiments in one go. I've mentioned this before. I had foiled that whole plate with some rose gold spellbinders foil, and I cut out all the sentiments. I keep them aside in a little container, and anytime that I need a sentiment quickly, I kind of just go ahead and grab that. As I mentioned, my weekend was so busy with the Create and Connect event that I kind of had to just work quickly to put this one together for you guys. But that's why doing this ahead of time really comes in handy, especially for sentiments like these. So I did show you earlier on that I cut out that little circle scallop piece from vellum. It kind of got moved in my big shot as I was putting it through, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to redo this. But I thought, you know what, I could actually just use this with the cut off portion. I'm gonna have to cut off the side anyways, so I might as well just keep this. So I went ahead and did that. I put the sentiment on with some foam tape, and then again, behind the vellum, I used some more foam tape and a bit of glue. Now this is perfect because I've kind of propped up that frame, so it's got a bit of dimension. So the foam tape helps me stick that down and keep the dimension, and then the glue, I'm only adding it behind the sentiment to hide it. Oh, now this is from Pinkfresh Studios as well. This is Champagne Pearl Embellishments. This is not available yet, and I'm so excited to show you this because we got these as part of our kit for the Create and Connect event, and it's just really exciting to actually get some of these products before the rest of the general public. Like I know what it feels like to be the designers now, right? So anyways, these are the champagne pearls, and they are actually really versatile. They worked on all the cards that we made, and I thought that they worked perfectly with this card as well. So I just kind of wanted to show you that and give you like a mini preview of those little embellishments that will be available in December, and that's what we were told, so don't hold me to it. It could change, and I'm sure that you can keep up with Pinkfresh Studio to find out about that. Now for the inside of my card, I'm going to be using the exact same stencils, but I'm just going to do like a portion of the stencil kind of off into the left corner, which is what I normally do for my card insides. Furthermore, I'm creating that watermark effect that I normally do. And on top of that, I'm also using a lighter hand as I add the ink to the stencils. So I'm not adding the ink nearly as heavily as I did on the front of the card. This creates a really nice light soft effect, and this is something that really was taught to me this weekend. Carissa Wiley had a class. She did the first class of the day, and it was really enlightening because I tend to have a heavy hand when I do my my ink blending, and I didn't even stop to think, hey, I could just get a completely different look by doing this a little lighter. So I think this is my new go-to for card insides because I love creating that watermark effect. I usually use stamps and stamp out like a lighter or grayish color and then add like a color tone in the lightest color. But this is another way to add those nice watermark light colored images, but without like a grayscale effect like what I normally do. This gives you the entire color, but in such a light form. So you can see for the centers, I actually use some mocha ink, which is like a light brown, and that just makes it a little bit less intense than the black that I used on the front. So here's another little sneak peek. This we also got in our kit. This is the In the Meadow stamp, and it also comes with a stencil set, and I have the washi here to show you. Sorry, I didn't have the stencils out, but you can imagine they work well with the stamp set like the rest of the Pinkfresh Studio stuff. We were told again this would be available in December. Um, as I said, don't hold me to it. I'm going to just use the sentiment. The thank you sentiment here was so very pretty and scripty that I had to use it. And I just used some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink for that, and it turned out beautifully. So this is my final card for you today. It actually didn't take me that long. It's very simple, and I'm just basically focusing on a certain section of those layering stencils on the front and on the inside of the card. So I hope that you've been inspired today. I hope you were excited to see some of those little sneak peeks of Pinkfresh Studio products that should be coming out in December. Please don't hold me to that. I'm going to keep saying it like that. But basically, that's my card. So go ahead and check out the rest of the designer's inspiration up on the blog. And please go ahead and link up your creation so that we can look at all of your lovely, great artistic work. And this also enters you into the weekly draw to be the winner for the week. I didn't really stick to the sketch exactly, and that's the beauty of the sketch challenge. It's there to guide you and to inspire you. So even if your sketch is not exactly like ours, go ahead and link it up. We love to see what you guys are creating, and it also inspires us as well. We are here to inspire each other, and I just love how supportive this crafty community is. I'm so glad to be a part of it, and I'm so grateful for all of the support you guys have given me, and I love returning the favor. So that's my video for today. Please go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you see fit. Hit the notification bell so that you can be notified of any future videos. And please check out my blog. All of the supplies are listed there, and the ones that are available are linked. If I can't find something that's like something's not in stock or something is just not available, I will always link something that's similar, and I don't always use all affiliate links because I want to make sure you guys are able to get the products. So I hope you guys have a great Wednesday, and please don't forget to join the challenge. Thanks again. Bye.